Hello and welcome to Singing Bowl Yoga. I'm Ruth Ann and I have a 10-minute wake up yoga sequence for you. I say wake up, it's a good thing to do in the morning, but you can do it at any time during the day when you just feel like you need a little extra boost of energy. So let's start in a comfortable seated position. I just have my legs crossed in what we call Sukhasana, easy pose. You might want to make yourself a little more comfortable by adding a blanket or some props, but I'm just going to do this without props. So we want to feel length through the spine, relax the shoulders onto the back, and just take a few moments to acknowledge that you have made it onto your mat. As you close your eyes, watch your breath, feel your body right here, right now. And then before we start our poses, bring your hands together in front of your heart, or you could just place one hand on top of the other too. That works fine. And just set an intention for how you'd like the rest of your day to go. It might just be one word, maybe it's your go-to mantra. Maybe it's just how you'd like to feel after moving your body for the next 10 minutes. And now use your inhale to open your eyes. Exhale your hands down. Let's rock back to uncross the legs and just put your feet on the floor about hip distance apart, maybe even a little bit wider. So I'm going to turn sideways on my mat so I can feel my feet kind of right there at the outer edges of the mat. Hands are slightly behind the hips. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in here. Maintain some length in the spine. As you exhale, drop both knees over to the right. And then inhale, bring the knees up. Exhale, the knees to the left. Inhale up, exhale down. Let's do that a few more times. It's okay if the hips lift. This is actually nice and twisty, and it helps to warm up some of those muscles that might be a little tight from either sleeping, laying down, or sitting for a while. Let's go to the right and left one more time. And then bring your knees back to center and walk your feet to the center of the mat. Try to sit nice and tall with your knees bent. So if you need a lot of extra support from the arms, move your feet out a little bit so that you can sit pretty vertical without holding on or pushing down. And then sweep the knees out, bringing the soles of the feet together, resisting the urge to pull your feet back towards you, but keep the diamond nice and big. Sit nice and tall here, roll your shoulders onto your back. Take some slow, deep breaths in and out here. This is our cobbler pose, Baddha Konasana in Sanskrit. Good. Now, as you inhale, go ahead and extend your right leg out. Slide your left foot back a little closer to the hips, maybe snuggling that left foot into your right thigh, but also rolling the right thigh into that left foot. Once again, just sitting nice and tall. Option one, the hands can just stay behind the back. The other option would be to lean forward, hinging from your hips, engaging your abdominals slightly. And you might even be able to start to walk your hands forward alongside this right leg. And here I'd like you to resist the urge to pull yourself into the pose and instead just melt your way in, breath by breath. Keep your right toes flexed and pointed up towards the ceiling, and keep rolling that right inner thigh into your left foot. Let's take one more nice deep breath where we're at. And then inhale to help yourself come back to vertical. You can use your hands and arm strength and support to do that. Let's go ahead and extend the left leg out. Bend the right knee. We'll just bring the right foot into that left thigh. Again, not so far in that it's hard to sit tall, but snuggling that right foot into the left leg, rolling the left thigh into the right foot, with the left toes flexed towards the ceiling. Please keep your left heel on the floor. Option one, hands stay behind the back. We sit nice and tall. Option two, we start to hinge from this left hip crease, really both hip creases. And then the third option would be to just start to walk in the hands down the inside and outside of this left leg, drawing the navel towards the spine to protect the back, but also help to gain a little bit more control or support in the torso as we stretch those important back muscles, as well as the back of that left leg. Right? Good, and then we'll go ahead and inhale, using our arm strength to get back upright. And now go ahead and extend your right leg out next to the left leg. Prop yourself up with your arms and just windshield wiper the feet a few times. Good, now go ahead and bend both knees. Sweep your feet around behind you, and let's make our way to a tabletop position. Hands and knees. And we'll take a nice deep breath in here in our tabletop position. And then as you exhale, draw your hips back towards your heels. Keep your hands where they're at, or walk the hands forward a little bit so you feel stretchier through the armpits, the side body, and the back. And now use your inhale to make your way back up to tabletop. You can leave your hands where they are. Knees are under the hips and the shins are parallel. Exhale. Draw your hips back. Now your hips don't have to land right on the heels. Do this in a variation or a shape that works for you. So we'll continue inhaling to tabletop and then exhaling back into this modified child's pose. Inhaling, Chakravakasana, tabletop. Exhaling, Balasana, child's pose. Inhale up. Exhale back. One more. Inhale up. Exhale back. And now next time you inhale, walk your hands back towards your knees, lift your hips away from your heels, and circle your arms up into the air. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Start to hinge from your hips as you lower your hips towards your heels, hands to the floor. And then inhale. Reach your hands back out towards the front of the mat and rise up to tabletop. As you exhale, bring your hips back towards your heels, walking the hands back towards the knees. Inhale to rise up and stretch on your knees. Exhale, hands to your heart and back down to the floor. Inhale, walk the hands forward and come back to your tabletop. Exhale back to that child's pose, walking the hands towards the knees so you can inhale back up onto the knees and stretch. Exhale, hands to the heart and back to the floor. Inhale, walking the hands forward, lifting back to tabletop. Exhale, bring your hips towards your heels, bring your hands towards your knees. One more. Inhale, kneeling stretch. Exhale, hands down, slowly. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale to child's pose. Let's pause in child's pose. Your head might come all the way to the mat. Maybe you'd like to cross your arms to give your head support, or we could bring the arms back alongside the legs if the head has something to rest on. Now we're going to inhale to sweep the arms forward, rise back up to tabletop, and then from here, bring your hands a little forward on the mat, bring your knees back, about one knee print, lower your elbows down, and then slowly shift your thighs and hips to the floor. Position your elbows so they're underneath your shoulders, but don't have the shoulders forward. Try to roll your shoulders onto the back. As you press down through the tops of your feet, press down through your pubic bone. Lift your navel and now draw your low ribs forward as you isometrically pull back on the elbows. It's almost like you're trying to slither through your arms here. Your nose can cut a line in the air, gazing forward, or you can just gaze down towards your thumbs or into that space between your index fingers. This is our Sphinx pose. It is a variation of our Bhujangasana, the cobra sequences or poses. Really feeling that nice extension in the back. So lifting the navel, bringing the low ribs forward for 2 more breaths. Lifting the navel and bringing those low ribs forward. Keep your shoulders on your back. And now we're going to exhale by crossing the arms at the front of the mat, resting the head on the crossed arms. And bend your knees and just windshield wiper the shins side to side. So we could use our inhale to bring the feet to center, exhale to drop the legs to one side or the other. Keeping it slow, or you could speed it up a little bit. And now bring your legs back to center, lower your feet down, lift your head away from your arms, and just roll over onto your back. Once you're on your back, bring both knees in towards your chest, just a nice, gentle double knee hug. And then we'll take both legs over to the right, extending the left arm out even with the left shoulder. If your left shoulder is not in contact with the floor, just let your left knee elevate from your right knee. Lift it up. The feet stay together, almost like there's a hinge connecting the inner edges of the feet here. And work on softening into this left rib cage, turning your chest up towards the ceiling. You could even turn your gaze towards your left hand. And now slowly return to center with your gaze and your knees. Give the legs a hug again. And then slowly bring both knees over to the left. If your right shoulder elevates, just lift the right knee off of the left knee, keeping your feet hinged together, extending the right arm out even with the right shoulder. And finally, you could roll your right ear towards the floor to shift your gaze. Keep working on turning your chest up towards the ceiling. Feeling the stretch all along the right side of the back and into that right hip even. And this helps to stretch those muscles in the upper and mid back as well as the low back. And now bringing your gaze and your knees back to center. Draw your knees in towards your chest. And then put your feet on the floor with the knees bent. Bring one hand onto your low belly, and then put the other palm of your hand on your chest. And just feel your breath moving. Feel your body in this present moment. And now release your hands down, bring your knees back in towards your chest, holding on to the backs of your thighs. Lift your head and shoulders. Rock yourself up to a seated position. Let's come back into our cross-legged easy position and pause here. Bring your hands back together in front of your heart, either in Anjali Mudra or just placing one hand on top of the other. Bow your head and thank yourself for this 10-minute wake up yoga that you've just given yourself. Thank your body for its hard work, not just on your yoga mat, but 24/7. And may your intention that you set at the beginning of this short practice go with you through the rest of your day. Namaste.